Hi all. Welcome back to some more Unconditional Surrender, World War II in Europe. Um, this is designed by Salvatore Vasta. It's a GMT game. I've done a playthrough of Training Scenario 4. I just completed that and I was keen to do a bit more, so here I am. Now, I wasn't sure what to do. The designer suggested the Mediterranean scenario, and part of me felt like this was going to be awkward because most of it's down the bottom of the map. So I had some issues with that. I made some adjustments and decided that I think it is worthwhile going for that because it's totally different to what we were doing. There's not there's not a lot of counters. There's not a lot. It lasts 30 turns. Actually, there's a bit of a. Yeah, I'll come to that in a minute. Anyway, yeah, setting this up. I was busy last night. I didn't get around to starting this, and this will probably just be an introduction. This part. My guess is there might not be any gameplay get started, but it might. It might. But what I decided to do was this table that I'm on was the table that I was on previously. This table is slightly wider. It's not as long, but it's slightly wider. And I had that table. I'm just going to pan out there. You can see that I had this table that we're on here. This table here. I had that over there. So I was moving things about last night and decided to change that, and I put that table across and put the wider table here. Now I was going to just change it over, bring the map across to the not so wide table, but as you can see I've got some overhang already here, and with a less width than the other table it would have overhang even more and cause trouble with that. So I felt like if I'm going to do that I need to change the tables. Now what I should have also probably done was shorten that table down a bit over there, but that's not really relevant to this. But I had that other game set up, so I've just left it and that fits there, it's fine. But most of what's going to happen in this scenario is away down at the bottom. So I've had to give myself a little bit of table space here so that I can put the tripod and also be able to show what's going on down here. So not so easy. Now I can still bring the tripod onto the map a little bit and show this. Now I have managed to put the 2 player aid cards in the middle here again, because everything north of the, or when I say north, yeah, everything to the north side of the green dots, which is the mild zone. I'll quickly, yeah, we'll quickly go through the setup in a minute, I suppose. Anyway, that's not going to get used up above there. I mean, it's a Mediterranean scenario. It's all about the Italians down here and then the British across and Egypt and the likes. So it's more the naval side of things is going to get used a lot more on this. So this is what the designer suggested I try. And yeah, I thought, in the end I thought, yeah, let's give this a go. It kind of scares me a little bit regarding all the naval side of it, but I've got to learn how to do that if I want to tackle the whole game in full. Yeah. So yeah, I thought I could do that, and if I carry on and do more of this game, remember this is 30 turns. What did we have in Training Scenario 4? Wasn't quite that many, was it? And that took me 27 video parts. Set up. And ended in December 40. So where does it start, that one? Does it start in May? You need to go to the here, Grant. Sorry, I don't know why I'm bothering to look this up, but I am. Scenario length September 39. Yeah, so it starts in September 39 and it ended in December 40. So that's hard. That's not even. That's about a dozen turns or so, isn't it? Number 39. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then another 12. So it was 16 turns. So yeah, this is 30. So I've got double of what I've just been through. So you can imagine what you're, well, what you're up to looking at or viewing, or if you don't want to view it all, it's going to be me playing a lot of that. The fact that it's more spread out, there's a lot less counters, I still think it'll take me some time to get through this. And maybe when I've done that, and if I want to do more of the game, maybe I would think then I might be ready for a break of that. If I want to do more of the game, I could come back to it and maybe try the main event right from the start, get through it. Hopefully I'll be... You'd like to think I might be a little bit quicker with getting through it, but I don't know. No guarantees there. But I think I'd quite like to play it though still, you know. And the other option could be to carry on one of the Europe scenarios from 1942 onwards, sort of something like that. I mean, this one goes from July 40 to December 42. I could carry on with another scenario that started in sometime in 42 and to the end of the war, one of the Europe scenarios. It brings in 3 of the factions as well, brings in the Soviets as well. I'll see. I mean, this is more than enough to keep me going for now. Yeah, so one of the big things I'm going to have to be careful with is, like you can see the overhang of that table. Well, that's where I'm going to walk past as well when I walk round the table. And that overhang is going to be needing to be watched carefully. But like I say, I've been able to put these here so I can look at these. There was a thought about, see the top half of the map, and I don't know how the folds in the map go, that I could fold that away maybe and only have the lower half of the map, or the lower three quarters, and might fold over the last quarter. I don't know if it folds under, or it probably doesn't. But then you've got the turn track up there as well. So started thinking, well, we could maybe print it out my own turn track, put that somewhere else. But it's fine. This is fine. I like to have the whole map available on view as well. And you can see though that if I did, I mean, now that I've got this down on this table, you can see I've got a bit of space over here. I want this for the combat results table and to be able to have the rulebook at times. But you can see I've got a bit of space up here. These player aids could go up here. So when I get around to doing the full thing, I think I could manage. And I've also got another little table at the side of me here, which I'll not swing around and show you, but I've got the rulebook sitting on that just now. That can come in a bit closer to me. It's on wheels. And I've got access to the rulebook there as well. So it kind of locks me in. So I've got to move things about if I want to actually get out of the position I'm in. But anyway, right. So let's go through this scenario. Set up to this because it's slightly different. Now there's only a little bit in this is from my rulebook, of course, but I checked the living rules. And the only slight bit that's in blue, and actually this bit is not in blue. This says 29 turns, right? It's this bit here that's in blue. And I thought, why was that in blue? Because it is July 40 to December 42, but the bit in blue, the bit that's been errated, it says July 1940 to December 1942. This little bit is not in blue, however, it probably should be, because that says 29 turns, and in actual fact, if you count that out, it is 30 turns. So in the living rules, it does actually say 30 turns. The other bit is this that's in blue. This is the only other bit, and it says the Western faction wins if in any victory check phase, the Axis faction, now it says here, does not control a city located outside of Italy, Rhodes, Sardinia and Sicily. Now I'm going to just stretch across here. Right, so it's worded slightly different to say that, hopefully you can hear me here. The Western faction wins if in any victory phase the Axis faction controls cities only in Italy, Rhodes, Sardinia and or Sicily. So I'm not quite sure if it does not, see it says it does not control a city. Anyway, look, that's the only difference. I'll carefully look at it in when we get into the game to basically see. And that's the only difference, like I say, so everything else is fine. So I'll just read through this. So it says Mediterranean 1940 to 1942. This covers the Mediterranean campaign from Italy's entry until the end of 1942. It excludes the French North Africa campaign. So I think there's a separate scenario for that. So the basics are, the factions are the Axis and the Western factions, so just the two factions again. Although we kind of had the Soviets sort of involved the last time. They're nowhere to be seen in this one. And then maps used East and West. I did think about that. There is a couple of scenarios that just use... I want to say there's a couple that just use the East map. Probably obviously the Soviet ones. I'm not sure if there's any that just use the East map. And I thought about that for space-wise, but I'd rather not be doing it just for that reason. So anyway, we've got East and West maps. Scenario length, like I say, it's 30 turns, July 40 to December 42. Victory conditions, the Axis faction wins if in any victory check phase it controls Alexandria and Cairo. So we check in the victory check phase, if they control them, that's a game over, Axis faction won. I've just read that slightly more awkward bit about the Western faction winner. I'll come back to that and study it a bit better and understand it a bit better. But the Axis faction's conditions are quite simple. Alexandria and Cairo. So you would think that might be reasonably straightforward, but I'm sure it's not as easy as that, is it? Policies. The cooperation limits and neutral non-violation policies are in effect. Well, I know the cooperation one, because we did deal with that one before. That's where you can't go into the... that's the one you can't go into a friendly... a Western counter cannot attack, move, retreat, trace a path, nor be placed in USSR. Oh no, okay. What's the one I'm thinking about then? Yeah, no. Yeah, it says any country's counter cannot attack, move, retreat, trace a path, nor be placed into a different active friendly country. Yeah, so it was that situation we were before, where you had the Hungarians and the Romanians, and although they were allied to the Axis faction, they weren't allied to move into Germany. Right, sorry, interruption there. There might be more interruptions, to be honest, but I'll pod on for now. Yeah, so the cooperation limits are that one, whereas... I'm trying to think. I don't think other countries are going to be involved here anyway. Because there's no diplomacy, so I'm not quite sure. Well, that doesn't just cover that, Grant, does it? Anyway, the other one that's there is a neutral non-violation, which says a move, retreat, or trace path cannot go into a neutral country. Okay, so I think that must have been placed in the one before as well. You can't trace through a neutral country, yeah. So, okay. So, yeah, I was looking down there. That's French North Africa, isn't it? And then you've got Libya. But Libya's part of Italy. So it's French North Africa, which is French. Right, we'll work on that. We'll work that out when we get to it. So yeah, just kind of just going through the setup of this, because there's a few bits that I'm wondering about and want to read through. So it says conditional events. So the Mediterranean crisis and West invaded have occurred. East invaded, USA entry, USSR northern border and USSR southern border cannot occur. All else can. Right, so the Mediterranean crisis and West invaded they've already occurred. So let us maybe just, well, we've done the West invaded one last time as well. Where's the conditional events? That's further on, is it? Yes. Again, I'm in the rulebook here, which I would like to get printed out because some of these bits are going to maybe catch me out, but yeah. So I was more interested in seeing the Mediterranean crisis, I think. But let's just double check. The West invaded. Tells you what happens. Commonwealth trade. Yeah, the Commonwealth trade is on the track anyway. When lease is up there. It talks about the policy evaluation marker. It doesn't mention any of that in the setup to put that up there, but that's because there's no diplomacy. I don't think that matters. And then we've got the factory lost markers in play. Yeah. And German don't track any production or national will, and the UK don't either. It's really just the Italians that have a national will here. Okay, so more about the Mediterranean crisis then. What does it say about that? Because we've not done that. So this has happened, and it would have happened whenever an Axis unit or marker attacks moves into or placed in a France or UK overseas area. Right. And it could only occur one time. Take all French ground units from the faction cars, put them in a hex and French overseas area. Right, well, we mustn't be doing that. There's no mention of French units. UK reserves. Right. Emergency shipping. The Western faction may take one UK convoy unit. Yeah, okay, well, these things have happened. I don't think there's anything we need to worry about now, that the fact that they have happened. Now, it says that some of these things cannot happen. USA entry, East invaded USA, Northern USSR, Northern border USSR, Southern border. So what else can happen? The conquered country and country collapse and whatever. There's some other conditional events. Yeah, that's all the main events, really. Yeah, I don't think we need to worry about anything else there. Okay. Right, moving down. Control markers is none at start. Diplomacy markers not applicable. Pro-faction markers not applicable. So we're not using them. We're not doing a diplomacy or using the pro-faction marker. That's why I don't think any countries can be, can kind of join the other side, I don't think. So moving on. Special rules, note, there is no declare war or diplomacy phase. And the exception is, starting with April 41, or on any later turn, the Western faction may declare war on Iraq and or Syria. War does not have to be declared on both countries in the same turn. Right, now, I had a look. Let me just... Right, one of the things that might be an issue, I don't think it is, anytime I've done this before, because the light that I've got, I've not got the light from the other side over on this table. I've just got the light at the left-hand side of me. So there's no light really across here. So it does tend to be a bit dark. And now during the day, I get the light coming in the window directly in here. So that's fine. It doesn't look too dark to me, but it looks darker. But I think I've found in the past that everything's fine. Anyway, I was coming across here because it talks about that the Western faction, once a certain date arrives, April 41, that they may declare war on Iraq and or Syria. And I just want to put this into the video right now. What is the reason for them wanting to declare war on Syria or Iraq? I basically just want to leave that question in there in the hope that maybe Sal or somebody else will answer that for me. Why would the Western faction want to invade them? Declare war on them. I'm sure there's a quite simple explanation for it. I started to think if this wee C-zone down here in the very bottom corner of 32, but I mean Kuwait is down there, which is part of the UK anyway, which is in that C-zone, so it can't be that. And there's Iraq in there, and there's Syria in there. I don't know the purpose of declaring war on them, basically. So I'll just leave that there. Maybe somebody can, and then by the time I get to April 41, I'll say, right, okay, let's go and let's go and declare war against Syria or Iraq then, because what somebody told me. I'm sure there's a simple explanation for it. So. Okay, carrying on. For strategic warfare, the following applies. So it says here that there is an Axis air unit and a port in C-Zone 3 and an Axis port in C-Zone 7. Okay? So what I've done is, I have been able to do this. There's an Axis port in C-Zone 7. So we've got control, the Axis have control of Brest, which gives them, that's the one that gives them a +2 to the Dyro modifier. Now, I would have put this one in Bergen, the air unit, but I'm just showing it up here. Now, I think this is in C-Zone 3, up here. C-Zone 4 is here, but there's the border there, there's C-Zone 3. And the problem is Bergen and the other one's down here under this map. So I had it in Bergen at first, and then this was kind of in the way. So I've got it in Trondheim there, in the port. So I think that's in C-Zone 3, but it's only, I don't really need to put them out, as long as we know we're going to get a +1 modifier for that, and a +2 for the port in Brest, in C-Zone 7. I think it's a +2 and a +1. So, and then, carries on here, this is strategic warfare still. At the end of November 41, at the end of the November 41 turn, the USA becomes a Western country. It has no units in this scenario. So it's just letting you know that the USA becomes a Western country. So that must apply, that must have some modifier for strategic warfare too. And it says apply strategic combat results only to the UK. So although we are doing strategic warfare between the Western faction and the Axis, it's saying that we don't apply any of the combat results to the Axis, because the Axis, the Germans are not tracking factories or production. They've got, we'll see it in a second, it tells you they've got unlimited production. Let me just see the fact that the relevance to the USA becoming a Western country regarding strategic warfare. Well, actually, I mean, it's in the player aid, I think, Grant, which is under here. Maybe we should use the one that's more up to date. Yeah, and I could have just left that there. So, what am I looking for? Strategic warfare. Dyro modifiers. Yeah, we'll just look at this one. So, there's the one, an Axis port in C-Zone 7. So they'll get a +2 for that. And then an Axis air unit in C-Zone, well actually it says C-Zone 3 or 4. So whether that is in, yeah, it looks like it's in 3 to me where it is. So they're going to get a +3 to their strategic. There you go. So if the USA is a Western country, which it's saying here, where? At the end of November 41, the USA becomes a Western country. So then the UK are going to get a +2 modifier for that. But that doesn't kick in until November 41. So right, let me just put that back under there where I had it. Right, moving on. Yeah, it says there German strategic warfare losses are considered to affect the Eastern Front. So yeah, you don't track any of that. It's just considered to be bothering them over and against the Soviet Union. So, and there's confirmation there. Land hexes north of the weather mild zone green line are prohibited except for 2807. Hex 2807 may be used as a UK supply source and mobilisation location. Okay, so that's basically why I've got these cards down here, because you can see the green line. There it's there. It comes along just underneath the player aids there. It goes up to just underneath it there and then comes down a bit again and comes down. Yeah, I'm going off camera there. But anything to the north of that is prohibited hex, apart from Plymouth, which is hex 2807. And it's here. Now, so in Plymouth, we've got the 1st RAF and we've got that first convoy. Now, I've got them shown, although that's not shown in the hex, I like the idea of doing that. It's been suggested, and the designer suggested doing that with your fleets in your convoy, so you're not clogging up the hex. You want to see what's in it. So that is considered part in Plymouth as well. So we can use that hex as a supply source and mobilisation location. Now, if that's in C zone, hang on though. It says land hexes, Grant. So land hexes north of the weather mile zone are prohibited. So that does mean that, because I was thinking, well, surely we want to get this RAF unit down if we can. Although, what about is the home defence thing still? Well, I don't know. I mean, there's no British unit in the UK though. So what about the home defence thing? UK mainland, the UK must keep at least one of its air units and one of its ground units when 3 hexes off or anywhere within Great Britain. The conditional one is until the Mediterranean crisis or Western Bay, a UK unit and UK overseas area cannot move. Well, both events have happened. However, that seems a bit odd. That means I can't move that air unit now, which I'm not sure is the intention, because there's no unit in London either. There's not a. Surely there should be. It says the UK must keep at least one of its air units and one of its ground units within 3 hexes of or anywhere within Great Britain, Eastern North America box, or North Atlantic Ocean box. Well, I assume that. Okay, I might need to look that one up then. It doesn't. I've not seen any mention of the home defence thing not applying. So, but there's no ground unit in the UK. I mean, I know we're not involving ourselves with that, but the fact that this air unit's there is suggesting to me that I cannot move that air unit away, whereas I initially thought that I was going to bring that down with the convoy. Maybe I can't. Okay, well, we'll work on that one. Alright, so it carries on over the page. It says, remember the Western Indian Ocean box can also be used for unit mobilisation purposes. The Western Indian Ocean box. UK supply source. 1 UK unit may mobilise. Oh, okay. Well, yeah, I'm glad that's been pointed out then, because I don't think I would have thought of that. So, and then it carries on. If Axis is friendly... Sorry, hang on. If Axis friendly, hexes 3621 and 3525 are used as a Germany unlimited supply source and mobilisation location. They are still Italian city hexes. Okay, so if Axis friendly, hexes 3621 and 3525. Okay, and that is Genoa, which is 3621, and 3525 is Venice. So it's basically saying if Axis friendly, I'm not sure I'm getting why it's saying if Axis friendly there, but anyway, hexes 3621 and 3525 are used as a Germany unlimited supply source and mobilisation location. Now there is only 2 German units in this scenario. One is the Africa Corps, and one is the 2nd Luftwaffe. And I mean, although I've got that other Luftwaffe unit up there, it's just there to show. It's not involved. It's just there to show that we've got that sort of for the strategic warfare. They're going to get that benefit. I suppose I didn't really need to bother putting it there, but I did. So carries on here. Let's just finish this bit. Albania is part of Italy, but its hexes are prohibited. Albania is here. It's that wee section there. You can see it says IT, so it is part of Italy, but it's prohibited. The hexes are prohibited anyway, so you can't put anything across into that port or anything like that. I'm assuming that's how it would go. The only countries that have been or can be activated are Germany, Iraq, Italy, Syria, and the UK. Italy is activated, the UK is activated, I would have to say Germany is activated. But Syria and Iraq are not activated, they're neutral countries, and yet again, I suppose I'm looking for somebody to give me the word why the Western faction would want to attack them, declare war on them. Anyway. Okay, so moving on. Axis faction. So active countries. Well, there you go. It tells you that Germany are an active country. But like I say, they don't have any counters. They bring in 2 units. They bring a couple of events, obviously, but so and their national will is not applicable. Excuse me, and their factory count is not applicable. So they don't have markers for that. It says there are no German units until October 1940 at the earliest. Note that Germany has unlimited production points. Therefore, it can transfer 1 production point to Italy each turn per transfer production points 9.1.3. So I'll need to remember to do that every turn because, well, Germany have got unlimited, so they might as well pass on the 1 to the Italians. And then Italy have a national will of 12 and a factory count of 6. And then special rules, so these are a wee bit different. So I'll need to try and remember these. So it says in the September 40 strategic movement phase, the Axis faction removes 1 Italy convoy unit. It went to Albania to support the invasion of Greece. So okay, so in the September 40 strategic movement phase, we're going to have to remove 1 convoy. Let's say they've got 2. Yeah, so they've got 2, so we're going to drop down to 1 for that. For September and October, by the looks, because in November of 40 strategic movement phase, the Axis faction puts that convoy in any friendly port in mainland Italy. It has 2 sorties, so it came back from Albania. So it's just to account for that they send a convoy across to support the invasion of Greece, and then 2 months later it comes back. And starting with August 40 or any later turn, the Axis faction may make 1 amphibious invasion in a sea zone containing an Axis ground unit stacked with a convoy unit. No surprise attack marker is used. It may only make 1 attempt during the whole scenario. So anytime after August 40, it can do this. So again, we'll need to keep on top of that because it doesn't do a true surprise attack marker like it says. But it's only going to be able to do it once throughout the scenario. The Axis player may set up the Italy 2 and 4 ground units in any land hex in an Italian mainland and or overseas area. Placement cannot violate stacking limits. Now, that's one thing I've not done yet. I've set up all the other counters, but I've left them so just to have a look and see where we might want to put them. So I've not put them on yet. It then describes where everything goes. You can see that the Axis bring the strategic move event, submarines event. The tanks event comes in on January 41. Then they get the Africa Corps in January 41, or it mobilises then. That's where it is on the turn track, so it'll move into the mobilisation track on January 41. And then second Luftwaffe in December of 41. They also got another submarines event in June 42. And then the Italians bring a tanks event marker. They have that. These are the 2 special rule placements that we'll get around to doing, and then everything else is placed as is. We'll come in and look at that in the map in a second. Right, and then the Western faction. So active countries are the UK, and their national will is not applicable, so we're not tracking that. We are, however, tracking their factory count of 9. Now, they also have a factory lost of 1, and then strategic warfare will adjust that accordingly. But there's no German factory loss marker because we're not dealing with strategic warfare for them, so it's just a one-sided affair. So the British are looking for a good die roll then, but they're up against it at the start because they've got Germans have a +3, so then special rules. So something similar here to what the Italians had. In the March 41 strategic movement phase, one UK motorised unit is removed. It went to Greece. And then in the June 41 strategic movement phase, put that unit in any friendly port, reduced side up, it came back from Greece. And then in the September 42 strategic movement phase, one UK motorised unit is removed from the scenario. It left to prepare for Operation Torch and upgrading to the First Army. Okay, so that you lose a motorised unit then. And then lastly, the UK 8 ground unit can upgrade to a UK motorised unit. Yeah, and we'll see that unit is on the map as well. I was on the turn track. So the British have Commonwealth trade that'll come into effect in November 40. Its factory loss marker is on the track in the one space, so they've lost a factory to start with. 2 line leases get checked on May 41, and then they move somewhere else on the turn track, don't they, when we get to them. You've got naval evacuation as an event, surprise attack as an event, tanks as an event, all the units there. And then one's down the bottom, the BEF mobilise, all come in and mobilise in November 40. Second RAF will mobilise in November 41. Another tanks event marker you'll get in November 41. And there's the upgrade unit. Doesn't come in until September 42. So it says, just reading back there, it says the UK 8 ground unit can upgrade a UK motorised unit. So we can use that to upgrade, and it upgrades it into an armoured unit, basically. But it's right near the end of the scenario, isn't it? It's like September 42 and the scenario ends in December 42, so... But my guess is you want to make the most of it. And then a few Western events. Strategic move. Free forces, not quite sure what that does. Doesn't come in until December 40. Partisans comes in December 41. Again, not that sure about what any of these do, to be honest. I'll have a look at them. And then you get an Ultra event in July 41. And then an Ultra event in July of 42. And that's it. And Soviet faction is not applicable. They're not playing this game, so they're not involved. So that's everything. So there's a little look at the turn track. It's all way up the top of the map here, though. Hanging off the table mine, so I need to be careful when I'm trying to take anything off that or put anything on it. It's just as I said, we're starting in July of 40, and then the last game turns December 42. And things end at the end of that turn. We've checked the victory conditions. So I suppose if none of them have happened, then nobody wins then, I suppose. I don't think there was anything... I don't know, maybe it's as clear. Maybe it's clearer once I come to understand the actual Western factions way of winning. It's one of the bits of it was worded that was hard for me to take in. And then there we've got the tracks. Italy's national will is 12. Their factory count is 6 to start with. The British have 9, but remember they've got 1 factory lost. So I haven't done the production, obviously, because we'll need to move into that step. Now I put this in here because this is Germany times 2, but Italy do get a times 2 as well to the production, so they will start with 2 times 6, so they will get 12 production, whereas the British will get 9 minus the factory loss is 8, so they'll get 16. And then the events across on the track here are just, all events. We've got the Italian tanks. The British have one of their tanks. They will get another one later on. Strategic moves are there. Surprise attack the British have, and naval evacuation. And then the Germans have the submarines, which obviously is good for strategic warfare as well. They'll quite possibly use that right away to try and make sure that they knock another factory out of the off of the British. So units on the map, well, there's Gibraltar. It has a garrison, and that's Force H. Remember that this is in the hex. So any of them that are around that like that, because that can't be sitting there, it needs to be in a port. So it's in the port, it's beside it. It's a little awkward if you're right there and then there's a port there and a port there, but you can see I put that there. So then British also have Fort Malta, and this was I think the most bombed place in the whole of the war. I think it was so important, I think, to both maybe I don't understand the full picture of it all, but anyway, must have been important because it got a lot of attention. So, and then of course, well, Italy's here right enough. I mean, there's Malta, there's Sicily, there's Malta, and then of course you've got Libya, which is Italy as well. I mean, Malta's sitting right in between it all, isn't it? Anyway, so Malta, it's for there. Now I don't know if that's something that could be, went for, maybe. I mean, there's only that one hex, so you'd have to, amphibious assault that one bit, wouldn't you? But then what would that gain the Italians? Would it gain them anything superior? I don't know. Anyway, so you got Italian, that's a full-strength unit in Genoa. Quite a lot of garrison units, and there's one in Rome. This is another full-strength unit in, what is that? Brindisi? And then obviously the second fleet and the second convoy are in there as well. Catania, what's it call it? Garrison unit, and there's the Italian AR, first AR, and then down here, garrison unit in that's Tripoli, with the first fleet and first convoy. And then along here is the Tobruk fort. That's a full strength unit in there in Tobruk. So I mean, not a lot of counters really. Well, we've got the other two to place yet, and we're going to do that next. But for the British, you've got the Western Desert Force here in Alexandria, and this is one of the targets that the Axis need to take. They need to take Alexandria and what was it? Was it Cairo? Oh. I think it is actually. Yeah. The Axis faction wins if in any victory check phase it controls Alexandria and Cairo. So Cairo's down there, there's nothing in it, but I don't think that should be in it. I think he's in the right place. So this fourth convoy is in the Suez, that's the Suez port, the canal. That's some bits for me to work out how that works as well. You've got Port Said there, and then you've got the canal coming through, and it says Suez sea zones 25 and 31, I think it is. So you better stretch along there for me and my eyes. And then, of course, then this goes out to, maybe, does this involve this, doesn't it? Is that 31? Yeah. This is some of the bits I'm going to have to grasp, tracking the supply routes and that. Anyway, we've got second convoy along there in Haifa. And that's a garrison unit as well. And these are all controlled. That's Palestine, which is part of the UK. It's Egypt, which is part of the UK. And yeah, Western Desert Force with third convoy and the Med Fleet here. So a lot of this is about how these fleets are going to go after each other and supply traces. Excuse me. I'm not quite sure how I'm going to go about things to start with. But I thought I'd get it started. I came across another bit of video footage, a sort of training about the training scenario with this. Is there a training scenario for this? Or was it maybe just what the video was called? I don't think. Or is there? Aye, I'm looking in the wrong book to start with then. No, it's not one of the training scenarios, is it? No. I think it's maybe just the video is called to train. So I think it might be worth my while watching that, because I just noticed that the other this evening actually, and I thought I don't think I've looked at that before. But then I wasn't sure I was going to be doing this one anyway. Right, so the last thing we're going to do is place these two garrison units, Italian number 2 and number 4, and it says you may set up the Italy 2 and 4 ground units in any land hex in an Italian mainland and or overseas area. Placement cannot violate stacking limits. Okay, so where do we put them? Well, we know that like I say, the Axis victory condition is quite simple, really. Well, simple in terms that it needs to just take Alexandria and Cairo. So, I mean, although these are garrison units, shouldn't we be placing them along here? You've got Benghazi there. On saying that, I would think this unit probably wants to try and come across to Benghazi, maybe. That's a full strength unit, because, I mean, clearly the Axis, the Italians need to go on the offensive. They need to take the 2. And I will need to read and understand the Western factions' victory conditions, just to make sure I'm getting it, but I'll do that off camera. Well, maybe just I'll put one of them in El Agilia. I'm quite sure how that's pronounced. El Agilia. Because if I do put one in Benghazi, that means that I can't come across there, can it? Well, it doesn't. You didn't even put them in a. Just says any land hex grant. So I mean, in actual fact, I could put away along here if I wanted to. Well, you know what I should do maybe is I can't overstack, because that would be overstacking it. But I'll maybe put it there, because then that'll then allow this guy to come out of the fort and get aggressive, and that guy can take his place. Maybe. Does that make some sense? Maybe. And you know what? I'll just put the other one in Algelia. And there. And then, because I think if that does come across, I think. But we've got to be wary of things intercepting things now as well. If we are, and that would just be a naval transport. But no, I say it could be stopped. But I want to say that it could be intercepted, and it could be successfully intercepted. But I still want to say the unit could still land there, because it targets the nearest port, I think, if I seem to remember my thinking of it. Okay, well, we'll go for the 2 there. I don't see the point in putting them in mainland Italy, because I don't think the British aren't going to go and attack Italy. Don't think. I think they've got, again, I do need to look at the victory conditions, make sure I understand them. But, I mean, there's not enough of units, They've only got the WDF as a main ground unit, and that's it. All the other ground units are garrisons. So my guess is the British are just defending what they've got. Yeah, but the naval side of things comes in a big style. Okay, well, that's everything set up. And oops, talked about and etc. So I'm going to put that aside. I've got my rule book a bit closer to me and might be able to show you some of the rules and whatever when I'm looking them up. Again, I'm just looking at my old, well, I say my old rule book, my rule book. So I will get around to print it out. I'm going to give it the time that the designer said about maybe getting a new version out there. So do that before. One a couple. It's really regarding the last part. I noticed I came across another Yugoslavian unit, and it was lying. It was strange. It was lying under the table, under this table where I'm sitting just now. Now I know this is the table I was at, but it was over here. So I have no idea how it got across here on the carpet. But so the Yugoslavs actually have that means they have 2 full strength units, and was it 3 garrison units? So they've got quite a decent force actually. Thought there was something else. Oh yeah, I made a comment in the last part of my video. Not that I can really show you. Well, we can look at Cherbourg. It's when I was trying to finish things off in part 26, but I had to stretch it to part 27. But turns out we could have finished off in 26 because I had the German unit left that could come around. And Cherbourg was only covered with a naval unit, and it did have the same. It had the movement. It was it was adjacent to Le Havre because we were adamant we were taking Le Havre, and he was sitting in that hex there, and all he needed to do was move 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 into Cherbourg, and the French were at 1 national war at the time, so we didn't really need to go into that last bit of video footage. So. Which I spent more time talking about other things than actually the game that I was playing. But anyway, I think there might have been something else, but I'll leave it at that for now. Okay, 52 minutes. That'll do. I'll just put it as a part, and I left a couple of questions in there maybe to get some answers that'll get me started. And I'm going to go tonight. I'm going to download that video, the one about the Mediterranean, and just have a look at it, just to get some idea of maybe what I should be looking at, what I should be trying to do here. Okay, yeah, I had to play a bit more of this. I did, and there you go. I even moved tables about and everything to get this happening. So looking forward to doing a bit more of that. And I've got my other game on the other table, so that's fine. I can chop and change a little bit. I've not really sat and got into that yet. Still struggling a little bit with it, but it might mean Skies Above Britain might be sitting a bit longer now, though. I think it would go on the other table okay. But obviously I've got that set up now. I might as well try and do something with that. Okay, I'll be back with another part of this sometime soon. Cheers.